What if I told you that 93% of the problems you face every day exist only because of how you think, not because of life itself? Imagine if there were simple lessons practiced by the greatest Stoic philosophers that could instantly transform your mindset, your peace, and your power over life's chaos. Today, you're about to learn 12 life-changing lessons that will fix almost everything holding you back. If you apply them, nothing will control you again. Lesson number 1, control what you can, accept what you can't. This idea was the basis for all of Epictetus's philosophy. He said there are things we can control and things we can't. That difference is what keeps you at peace within. When you try to control things that were never yours, including what people think, how they act, whether they remain or leave, or whether life gives or takes, your emotions spiral. The Stoic mind knows what it can and can't control, and only puts energy into things that count, including your ideas, actions, discipline, and decisions. You find tranquility when you quit trying to control everything. And strangely enough, the instant you quit trying to control everything, you start controlling the only thing that ever mattered, yourself. Most people spend their whole lives fighting with reality instead of learning how to deal with it. The Stoics thought this was crazy. Epictetus told his students that freedom starts when you stop trying to make the cosmos do what you want and start making your will fit with the universe. He emphasized that the mind can only be calm when it knows how much it can control. Everything outside of that boundaries is things like what other people think, random happenings, and even your own health. But these are the things that most people worry about every day. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Even though he was in the middle of battles and betrayals. You will discover strength if you understand this. That understanding will change your life. You stop attempting to calm the world when you realize that the storm will always come and that your tranquility depends solely on how you feel within. You relax down. This lesson requires humility, the bravery to admit, I don't control everything, and that's fine. It's not giving up, it's being smart. When you give up the idea that you can control everything, you stop reacting to things and start making decisions. You stop trying to fix every situation and start thinking about how you will respond. You don't wonder, why is this happening to me? Instead, you ask, how can I deal with this with strength and virtue? Seneca said it best when he remarked, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. Life will go on, but how you feel about it depends on how you stand. When you go along with what's going on instead of fighting it, serenity comes easily. So the next time someone lets you down, a plan falls through, or life knocks you out of the blue, stop for a second. Think about whether or not you can control this. Let it go if the answer is no. If the answer is yes, be clear and disciplined in your actions. Everything else is a waste of energy. You can control your mood, your effort, and your honesty. Accept what you can't change, results, opinions, and time. That's where freedom starts and 93% of your issues end. Lesson number 2. Silence is power. Seneca said, if we don't control our anger, it hurts us more than the injury that makes us angry. The same goes for words. The other person's speech is not the most destructive weapon in an argument. Your reaction is. When people insulted Marcus Aurelius, he didn't get angry. He stayed calm, because quiet takes away the weapons of fools and shows wisdom. The Stoics thought that every word that wasn't needed was a chance to lose control of yourself. You become invincible when you cease explaining, defending, and reacting. A quiet silence says more than 1,000 heated words. Let other people squander their tranquility on noise. You stay silent and let your deeds speak for themselves. Being quiet isn't a sign of weakness, it's a strategy. The Stoics knew that words are like arrows. Once you let them go, you can't get them back. A single careless sentence can ruin relationships, trust, or peace of mind. That's why Seneca suggested restraint, not as a way to give in, but as a way to display strength. He remarked, "It is better to conquer our anger than to defeat our enemies, for victory over self is the greatest of all victories." When someone bothers you, they are inviting you into their mess. When you react emotionally, you say yes to the invitation. But when you don't say anything, they have to deal with their own noise and wonder why their attack didn't bother you. That's strength. Power that is real. The kind that can't be faked because it's based on being calm. Epictetus told his students to consider this before they spoke. Be quiet most of the time, or only say what is needed and in few words. The Stoics thought that silence was not empty, it was focused. They used it as a tool for discipline, to stop and think about what they were saying, and make sure that every word had a reason, instead of just being angry. In his book Meditations, Marcus Aurelius talked a lot about how a man shows his dignity, not by how loudly he fights, but by how calmly he stands his ground. He was able to control himself even as emperor. He was surrounded by opponents, politics, and betrayal, yet he didn't allow rage control what he said. He chose to be calm as his protection. He knew that silence makes things mysterious, and mystery deserves respect. Don't react right away the next time someone insults you or attempts to start an argument. Let your silence speak for you. The fact that you don't react will tell more about your strength than any brilliant response ever could. Seneca also said that silence keeps the peace. He said, "Reason is not present when anger is. And when reason isn't there, chaos takes over. Every word you say while you're mad is a seed of regret. But quiet is a stronghold. It allows you room to think, breathe, and choose how to react instead of giving in. So don't say anything when you're angry. Stay calm when someone challenges you. Think before you speak when you want to. Let other people wear themselves out, attempting to prove their worth by making noise. The Stoic doesn't need to be heard. All he needs is for his own conscience to understand him, because being quiet doesn't imply you don't have something to say. It signifies that the way you live has already stated enough. Lesson number 3. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in our minds than in real life." And he was right. The human mind is great at making up stories that never happen. Think about how many times you've ruined your own tranquility by thinking about being rejected, failing, or being betrayed before they even happened. The mind makes pain out of darkness. The Stoics, however, said that reality is rarely too much to endure. It's our imaginations that make things worse. Marcus Aurelius told himself every day, if something outside of you makes you unhappy, the pain is not because of the thing itself, but because of how you see it. Learn to view things as they are, not as your anxieties make them look. Your worries get less when you live in the present. Seneca's observation cuts deep since it shows that the imagination is what causes much of our suffering. The mind likes to go to dark places, like thinking about failure, loss, and grief that hasn't even happened yet. You might lose sleep over talks that never happened, chances that might not happen, or results that might not happen. The Stoics believed that one of the worst things about being human was living not in the present, but in the shadow of what might happen. Epictetus told his students to think about every scary concept before they believed it. He observed, people are upset by things, not the things themselves. This indicates that misery doesn't usually come from reality itself. It comes from how we see it. Two people can deal with the same problem, yet one person breaks down in despair while the other stays calm and focused. The difference isn't in the situation, it's in the tale that each mind tells about it. Marcus Aurelius often told himself to get rid of the lies his mind made up. He would write, "You always have the option of not having an opinion," when anything bothered him. That is Stoic detachment, the ability to see life as it is, without adding more emotion or anxiety. Reality is not biased. Our imagination gives it teeth. Seneca said that an anxious mind is like a man who has shipwrecks every day because he is afraid of the sea. The fear of pain often hurts more than the pain itself. Remember the last time you worried a lot about anything, like a meeting, a breakup, or a mistake? When it actually came, it wasn't quite as bad as you thought it would be. You suffered twice, once in your mind and once in actual life. The Stoics called that suffering on purpose, and they worked to stop it. To live by this lesson, you have to quit practicing being unhappy. When your mind starts to go down the rabbit hole of what-if situations, stop and ask yourself, is this really happening, or am I just imagining it? Let it go if it's not real. Get back to the present and focus on what you can see, touch, and control. Epictetus would tell his students that dread is like smoke. From far away, it looks heavy and terrible, but when you walk through it, you see that there is nothing solid there. Most of your anxieties are simply that, smoke. So when your mind starts to make up storms that aren't really there, practice being still. Stay in the current moment. Take a breath. Look around. Think about what is really going on right now. Most of the time, the answer will be nothing bad. When you come back to reality, you notice that life is rarely too much to handle. It's the imagination that makes it seem that way. And if you learn how to quiet that mind, you'll see that most of your pain wasn't genuine in the first place. Lesson number 4. Don't react. Respond. When someone insults you, tries to get you angry, or tries to mess with your emotions, stop. That one pause is where wisdom comes from. Epictetus remarked, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it." You can't tell people what to say, but you can always tell them what you mean. Anger, envy, and retribution are all symptoms that your mind hasn't learned how to control itself. The Stoics were able to control their emotions because they knew that doing so made them slaves to others. You keep in charge of yourself when you respond instead than react. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius often told himself, "You have power over your mind, not over things that happen outside of it." You will discover strength if you understand this. The main idea of Stoic control is being able to control how you interpret things, not what happens to you. Every insult, unkind statement, and slight is only an occurrence. When you think of it as an attack, it is. The real fight is not between you and the individual who made you mad. It's between your higher reason and your impetuous ego. Seneca was right when he said that wrath is like temporary insanity. When you lose control of yourself, you give the person who bothered you all of your power. You erupt when they push one button, which means they control how you feel. But when you stand motionless, breathe, and look before you act, you send a strong message without saying anything. You can't touch me. That calm presence makes manipulators less likely to succeed, annoys the weak, and gains the respect of the strong. When Stoics say respond, they mean to act based on reason, not feelings. You don't just disregard the insult, you figure out what it means. You don't hold back your feelings, you learn to control them. You need to know the difference between what you can control, your ideas, actions, and judgments, and what you can't, as Epictetus taught. The rest is simply noise. Think of a storm. The idiot yells at the wind, curses the rain, and shakes his fists at the clouds. The wise man, on the other hand, finds cover, watches the storm, and waits for it to pass. In actual life, that's what a Stoic answer looks like. Calmness leads to smart action. It's not a sign of weakness. It's strategic patience. And here's the strange thing. The more you manage yourself, the less other people can control you. The more calm you are, the more power you have. People start to see that they can't get to you or make you angry. That quiet, that pause, that calm reaction, those are what make you powerful and hard to predict. You stop living reaction to other people once you learn this lesson. You begin to live as the cause. Lesson number 5. People reveal themselves through how they treat you. Epictetus said, when someone is well-grounded in life, they don't need to look outside of themselves for approval. Individuals often put their own insecurities on other individuals. When they insult, trick, or make fun of you, they are showing you how they really feel about themselves, not about you. The Stoic way to respond is not to defend or dispute, but to watch. See individuals as your teachers. The unpleasant person teaches you to be patient. The liar teaches you to be careful, and the betrayer teaches you to let go. No one can really hurt you if you see every experience as a lesson. They can only show who they are. Marcus Aurelius said, the best way to get back at someone is to be different from them. That means that when someone treats you badly, the test isn't about them. It's about whether you will lower yourself to their level or rise above it. Every time you talk to someone, it's like looking in a mirror that shows either your strength or your weakness. When someone disrespects you, they aren't criticizing your worth. They're showing that they don't have any. What they say and do shows that they are in a lot of trouble within. Seneca thought that you can't influence how other people treat you, but how you see their acts shows who you are. When someone betrays you, you realize that they don't value loyalty as much as you do. If someone makes fun of you, it means they need to be right more than they need to be honest. You cease letting people control your feelings when you comprehend this. You stop taking their acts personally and start looking at them as a philosopher who studies human nature. The Stoic is steadfast because they see through life, not because it is easy. They don't get mad at others for their imperfections. They learn from them. People who are proud show how empty pride is. People who talk show how unhappy a restless mind can be. And people who are nasty show how scared they are of being unimportant. All actions are data. Every insult is a lesson. Epictetus told his students that when someone does something bad to you, you should thank them for providing you a chance to be virtuous. The rude person provides you a chance to see how patient you are. The unfair individual gives you a reason to work on your self-control. The disloyal individual reminds you that you should find happiness in yourself, not in other people. You can turn sorrow into progress by changing your emphasis from what they did to what you can learn. Every day, Marcus Aurelius told himself, stop arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's the way of the Stoics. You don't respond to cruelty with more brutality or ignorance with noise. You keep calm, stable, and grounded. Their actions show who they are, and your stillness and tranquility show who you are. How people treat you doesn't say anything about how much you are worth. It speaks everything about who they really are. And how you react reveals everything about who you've become. Lesson number 6. Routine builds peace. Marcus Aurelius was always under a lot of stress, but every morning he wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. He understood that routine was not solely a matter of discipline. It was essential for mental well-being. Structure is what the mind wants because it makes things stable. Get up early. Write. Think about it. Make a plan for your day. These easy rituals help you organize your inner life. Seneca said, it's not that we don't have much time to live, it's that we waste a lot of it. When you plan your time, you take back control of your life. The Stoic doesn't hurry. He walks with purpose and clarity. Epictetus once stated, no great thing is made quickly. This is what routine is all about. It is the quiet, hidden source of power. A Stoic doesn't wait for motivation or inspiration. He depends on routine. Your emotions are calmer when your days are structured. Routine protects the mind from the confusion of not knowing what's going on. It changes time from something that slips away into something you can control. Marcus Aurelius had to deal with battles, betrayal, and the heavy burden of being an emperor. Yet he always went back to his routines, meditating in the morning, thinking at night, and being thankful all day. He didn't write his journal, Meditations, to become famous. He did it as a way to control his thoughts. This repetition kept him steady in the middle of storms. This is why the Stoics thought that tranquility isn't found in comfort, but in being consistent. Seneca told his students to set aside a certain number of days for thinking, being simple, and doing work. He realized that chaos comes when the mind wanders. Routine isn't a jail, it's a stronghold. It keeps your mind on track, your ideals in check, and your emotions in check. Every morning routine and every conscious choice is a way of saying, I am in charge of myself. This is what Stoicism ultimately asks for, not power over others, but control over your own mind. Epictetus also said, when we can't change a situation anymore, we have to change ourselves. And that's what a strict regimen does. It changes you. It changes who you are in little, hidden ways. You get smarter when you think about things in the morning. Writing every day helps you think clearly. Getting up early makes you strong. Every time you say it, it becomes a thread that weaves order into your thoughts. Without a routine, even the strongest mind can be distracted and emotionally unstable. But with it, peace becomes easy to see. You don't wait for peace. You make it. Marcus Aurelius didn't need solitude or luxury to find tranquility. He made it through discipline. The lesson is that your mind is shaped by your morning, and your soul is shaped by your structure. Don't wait for peaceful days. Make them happen. Routine is the Stoic's daily prayer and the armor that protects him from the turmoil of life. Lesson number 7. Expect nothing. Appreciate everything. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, which is thinking about all the bad things that could happen. They did this not to be negative, but to be ready. Every nice thing is a gift when you don't expect anything. Epictetus told his students, when you kiss your child, think about how you might lose him tomorrow. It wasn't morbid, it was a call to be thankful. When you remember how fragile life is, you stop taking it for granted. Being thankful gets rid of most of your anger. When you stop wanting what you don't have and start appreciating what you do have, peace comes easily. Marcus Aurelius would wake up many mornings and remind himself that he would meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful, and the jealous. He didn't do this to be afraid of the day. He did it to accept it as it was. The Stoic mind doesn't try to be perfect. It accepts reality and finds value in it. When you don't expect anything, you take away the power of being let down. You turn everyday events into blessings when you are grateful for everything. Seneca once said, a great man uses earthenware as if it were silver, but he also uses silver as if it were earthenware. That's the most basic type of gratitude, not based on what you have or what you lose, but on the fact that everything is impermanent. The Stoic knows that every meal, every discussion, and every breath in the morning could be the last. That's what makes it lovely. We live in a culture that tells us we should expect more achievement, more comfort, and more approval. But Stoicism advises the opposite, to get rid of all your hopes and dreams until you find tranquility. When you don't ask for anything from life, you start to notice its small marvels, like the warmth of the sun, the sound of rain, and just being alive. Epictetus instructed his students, don't try to make things happen the way you want them to. Instead, wish for things to happen the way they do. The highest level of freedom is not needing life to go your way, but being happy with how it goes. The desiring mind loses its grip when you appreciate what you already have. Marcus Aurelius often thought about how everything, power, fame, and beauty, was just temporary, but he still found delight in the little things. He wrote, think about how beautiful life is. Look at the stars and picture yourself jogging with them. He knew that happiness doesn't come from controlling what happens. It comes from being aware of life. The Stoics didn't think of gratitude as a feeling. They thought of it as a skill. It's saying thank you every day, even when things go wrong. Life will never be perfect, but being grateful makes it good enough. The man who doesn't expect anything is never let down. The person who is grateful for everything is always wealthy. The Stoic doesn't wait for everything to be perfect before being grateful. He lives with his eyes and heart open and is amazed by what is. Lesson number 8. Don't argue with fools. Seneca said, "The best way to deal with anger is to wait." When you talk to fools, you bring chaos into your tranquility. No intelligent individual expends energy disputing stupidity. Marcus Aurelius stated, "You don't have to make this something. You don't have to be upset by it. Let people who don't comprehend you do so. Let them pervert what you say. Silence kills more foes than fighting ever will. Get out of there. Keep your energies. The more you rise, the less you have to explain." Epictetus frequently reminded his pupils that the opinions of others are irrelevant to them. He stated, "If someone tells you that someone is talking bad about you, don't make excuses for what they say. Instead say, 'He was ignorant of my other faults. Otherwise, he would not have mentioned only these.'" That's how strong people think. They don't care about small words and are untouchable. Fighting with a fool is like wrestling in mud. Even if you win, you're still dirty. The Stoics knew that truth doesn't need to be defended. It shows itself through peaceful activity. When someone attempts to get you to argue with them, realize that their disarray is an invitation. You can opt to accept or not. As emperor, Marcus Aurelius was often being criticized by competitors, advisors, and even family members. But he never got angry or tried to explain himself. He held back, not because he didn't have words, but because he knew how to use them. He knew that those who want attention don't like silence. For the Stoic, quiet is not a sign of weakness. It is a plan. Seneca remarked, "A man can't learn what he thinks he already knows." It's pointless to argue with an idiot because they employ noise to protect their stupidity. Wisdom, on the other hand, speaks softly or not at all. The Stoic doesn't want to win arguments. He wants to be in control of himself. Epictetus said that life is like a stage where everyone play their parts, some as the wise and some as the foolish. You can't change what the fool says, but you can change how you act. Stay calm when someone insults you. Don't say anything when you're made fun of. If you don't understand, stay still. That calmness is louder than anything you could say back. And don't forget that you don't have to fix everyone. Wanting to prove others wrong frequently stems from feeling insecure, not wise. True confidence is calm. The person who knows himself doesn't require everyone else to agree with him. So if someone attempts to pull you into loudness, leave with style. You don't have to respond to them. You owe it to yourself to be at ease. As the Stoic said, "The fool eats up your energy, while the wise save it." And your life becomes calm the instant you stop arguing with idiots. Lesson number 9. Choose pain over comfort. Epictetus had a rough existence, but he thought that pain was the best way to learn. He stated, "Difficulties show what men are." The Stoics did things like sleep on the floor, fast, and go barefoot on purpose to make their minds stronger. They didn't do these things to hurt themselves. They did them to create resilience. When you choose to be uncomfortable on purpose, comfort no longer has power over you. Seneca said, "You can't polish a gem without rubbing it against something, and you can't make a man perfect without going through hard times." People who have it easy are weak. Living a hard life on purpose gives you power. Marcus Aurelius saw problems as daily workouts for the soul. He remarked in Meditations, "The thing that stops action moves action forward. The thing that is in the way becomes the way." Every problem, every struggle, every moment of anguish was a chance to build character. The Stoics didn't look for pain, but they accepted it as a way to build strength. Choosing pain above comfort isn't about punishing yourself. It's about becoming free. When you choose to put yourself through something uncomfortable, like a cold bath, a lengthy walk, or a hard talk, you teach your mind that it doesn't need to be happy all the time. You slowly stop wanting comfort, luxury, and approval. You start to make choices based on reason instead of want. Seneca also said, "We don't have a short life. We make it short by wasting time and avoiding challenges." The easy way may appear safe, but it makes you weak and sorry. When you chose what is hard, essential, and good above what is easy, convenient, or indulgent, you build real strength. Epictetus likened the mind to a muscle, asserting that it requires tension to strengthen. Pain, on the other hand, does challenge you when you accept it. When you face it head-on, you create strength that helps you in all areas of life, including your mind, emotions, and body. This is why the Stoics chose to be uncomfortable every day. They knew that life is full of surprises and might be hard. They got ready for the bigger aches that life would bring by picking modest doses of agony that they could handle. They were unshakable because they worked hard to build their resilience. So the next time you want to escape pain, remember that growth is on the other side of opposition. Every hard thing you choose to do is a deposit into your strength account. If you choose the hard way, comfort will no longer dominate you. You will be in charge of yourself. Lesson number 10. Don't chase. Attract. Marcus Aurelius said the soul takes on the color of its thoughts. You draw chaos to you when your thoughts are all over the place. People can tell when your mind is calm, focused, and clear. The Stoics never sought fame, attention, or approval. They put their attention on virtue, which is becoming a good person, and everything else fell into place. Stop trying to get people to like you. Make yourself so strong that people can't help but look at you. What you want will start to look for you. Epictetus said that outside things like money, power, and praise don't matter. They are not good or terrible on their own. Their worth comes from how we use them. You bind your happiness to things you can't control when you chase them. When you work on being virtuous, disciplined, and wise, everything else will come naturally. The Stoic doesn't need praise. He is happy with his own greatness. Seneca said, "The mind has the power to be unbeatable." You radiate confidence and strength effortlessly when your inner life is rich, whole, and in line with reason. People are much more attracted to calm leadership and honesty than to frenzied demonstrations of ambition. When you focus on self-mastery instead of getting acceptance from others, you naturally draw in the correct opportunities, allies, and results. Marcus Aurelius thought about this every day. Stop arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. To seek character is to seek magnetism. The world reacts naturally when you control your thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. You don't have to push. Just be yourself, and the perfect things will come to you. Chasing things makes you tired because it takes your enjoyment away from you. It is easy to attract since it originates from inside. When you are patient, brave, and clear, people and situations will work out for you. You become like a tranquil river, steady, unwavering, and able to bring in everything you need. So work on becoming a better person, being honest, and staying calm. Strengthen your thinking, improve your character, and change your habits. The world will come to you when you accomplish this. Not because you asked for it, but because you became someone who deserves it. The Stoic way is to stop chasing and start attracting. Lesson number 11. Detach from the outcome. Epictetus said that attachment is what causes misery. You can always control how hard you work, but not the outcome. When you bind your happiness to things like achievement, love, and recognition, you give fate control over your life. The Stoic mind values virtue more than victory. You put forth the effort, the universe gives you the results. Seneca said, "He suffers more than he needs to, who suffers before it is necessary." Do your best and then let go. Freedom starts when obsession stops. Marcus Aurelius often told himself that life is full of surprises and that holding on to expectations simply makes things worse. He wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could better fit your needs." The Stoic mentality learns to do things well without wanting a certain result. Success is welcome, failure is okay, and peace stays the same. Being detached doesn't imply you don't care. This indicates that you put all of your energy into what you do, but you don't let the outcome affect how you feel. When you fight a war, finish a project, or have a conversation, your obligation ends with how hard you worked, not the result. The Stoics say that worrying about what people think of you, or whether luck will be on your side, is a subtle type of servitude. Epictetus said that the difference between being free and being a slave is where you put your attention. If you need things outside of yourself to be happy, you are a slave to them. You are free if it depends on your own good deeds and hard work. You get your power back when you stop caring about the results. You no longer have to rely on luck, timing, or other people's approval to be at peace. Seneca also said, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by hope." Expectation makes things seem bigger than they are. Detachment makes them seem like what they are. Chances to do the right thing, lessons to be learned, and experiences to be had. This is what Stoic discipline is all about. Perform your work, be true to yourself, and let the universe do what it will. Don't let success get to you, because being obsessed with it will shackle your thoughts. Don't be afraid of failing. Anxiety makes you think in strange ways. Instead, do everything you can, be smart and be brave, and let the outcome take care of itself. Letting go of outcomes is freeing. It lets you live your life without always worrying, completely participate without being afraid, and stay calm no matter what happens. When you make this change, most of the pain that used to fill your head goes away. Lesson number 12. Memento mori. Remember you will die. Every day, Marcus Aurelius told himself, you could leave life right now. Let that decide what you say, do, and think. The Stoics didn't fear death. They used it as a guide. Every moment is special when you know that time is short. You quit wasting time and energy on drama, retribution, and vanity since you know they don't matter in the end. You learn how to live when you think about dying. Every breath has meaning. Every word matters. Memento mori is not a warning. It is a wake-up call. Seneca said, "Let's get our minds ready as if we were at the very end of life." We should not put off anything. Let's find a balance between the fleeting moments of life and our goals. The Stoics thought that death was the great equalizer because it didn't spare anyone and didn't wait for anyone. You take away the little things that bother you and focus on what really matters. Virtue, progress, and doing things that matter. Epictetus told us that life isn't lengthy and that we waste a lot of it on fear, jealousy, and other things that don't matter. Don't act like you're going to live for 10,000 years. You are about to die. Be good while you live and while you can. Every day is a chance to be wise, love profoundly, be brave, and make the world a better place. Memento mori doesn't make you sad, it makes things clear. When you really get that life is short, every choice you make is on purpose. Arguments lose their attraction, grudges lose their hold, and pointless activities fade away. You cease looking for approval, comfort, or empty achievement because death reminds you that none of it lasts. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't act like you're going to live forever." Think about how quickly everything goes away and you'll be in tune with nature. Life is made up of short moments. The Stoic mentality values things without holding on, acts without thinking, and loves without limits, knowing that tomorrow is never certain. So allow the fact that you will die help you make decisions. Talk to them with kindness. Work with a goal in mind. Love deeply. Live life to the fullest, because thinking about dying can help you live well. Memento mori is not dread. It is liberation. It is the lens that makes your focus sharper and lights the way to a life worth living. Every day, tell yourself that today could be your last. Let that understanding change how you act, think, and feel. Live like a Stoic, on purpose, with virtue, and always being there. The Stoics never said life would be easy. They only said that your mind could manage anything. When you use these teachings every day, 93% of your troubles go away. Be in charge of your reactions. Protect your peace. Live with a goal. Marcus Aurelius was a strict ruler. Seneca wrote in a way that was easy to understand. Epictetus was a strong teacher. Their wisdom lasts because it works, even now, hundreds of years later. So quit trying to make the world better. Get your head right, and the world will follow. And don't forget, the person who wins over himself is better than the person who wins over 1,000 troops in war.